Hey, INYF family, Yankee Jeff here. Thanks for coming by the It's Not Your Fault channel, AL-ANON Recovery channel. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I've only done one other book review in the past. This is going to be my second one, and I had some amazing notes, left them on my dresser at home. So I'm going to wing this. The book that we're going to review is called Hillbilly, Elegy. It's written by J.D. Vance, who of course now is the Vice President of the United States. And this book came out in 2016. So that's going to kind of talk a little bit. Before we get into it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. And I'm going to caution everybody about this ahead of time, okay? I tried to do some preliminary notes on this book before I go ahead and just kind of winged it myself. And the hate and vitriol for this book is unbelievable. It's on IMDb, National Movie Database. The movie that was based on the book got great reviews, was having all kinds of stuff, and then J.D. Vance got into politics, and suddenly it's like something turned around. And I think most of that can be seen as reflective on his political choices as opposed to him as a person, which is really sad. The book was doing well, the movie was doing great, and then all of a sudden he got into politics, and all of a sudden now he's the Antichrist. I don't get into politics on this channel. All I want to talk about is the book. I read the book in a weekend. It was fantastic, I thought. It comes from a very humbling attitude. The fact that he had to really kind of expose himself to what kind of life he grew up in. He grew up in the Rust Belt of Ohio, Kentucky, Ohio, back and forth kind of. And he grew up very poor. A lot of people in that area did. And I guess the takeoff from the book was the fact that a lot of these Midwest towns and cities, they were once thriving. Once the businesses, the companies, the mills, etc., moved overseas or closed altogether, the towns dried up. And unfortunately, that's all over the country. A lot of places is, you have this urban flight. Once the businesses close, there's no place to go. And the workers just have to kind of survive or move. And a lot of times surviving means just getting by. And getting by just means getting into drugs or alcohol. And you've got a whole new legion of addicts that have been created because of the squalor in these areas. So that's not a political statement. That's just a fact. Okay, so J.D. Vance grew up in this area, and he was raised by his maternal grandmother, who he affectionately calls Mama, and his mother, who was a big subject of the book also, really wasn't a part of his life for the longest part because she was involved in drugs and alcohol. She had a severe addiction problem, which a lot of people in the area did. And the book takes place from his perspective about he tried to fight his way out of this never-ending cycle of despair and anxiety and loss of hope. He was in school. He hopped around from different schools because he was transferred a lot back and forth. His mom was involved with different people, and they moved around a lot. So eventually he went to stay with his grandmother and his grandfather, and he did the best he could. He was an average student. His dream was to become a lawyer, and he applied to Harvard and actually was accepted. He couldn't afford it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for, a law degree. So he ended up going to a different college and getting his law degree. And then, of course, he was successful after that. And then he got a foray into politics and ran for senator of Ohio and won. Very popular Ohio senator. And then he was nominated to be the vice president of the United States. And now he's the sitting vice president of the United States. All that being said, this is not a political book. It isn't. It's not a political book. He wrote this book before he got into politics. So that's where you should judge the man. If you've got a problem if you're a left-leaning person, right-leaning person, whatever, don't judge the book on your viewpoints of where he is now, but his situation then. And I think it's amazing the fact that he actually survived. This is a codependency and enabling channel. And there's a part in the book and again, we're talking about Hillbilly Elegy, the memoir of J.D. Vance. One part of the book that really kind of shocked me was when his mother, who was on probation for drug use, asked him to give him a urine sample, give her his urine sample so she could pass, because she was about to be tested. And as a teenage boy, he was being asked to do this by his mother. Now you talk about enabling and codependency and the box you put in there. And no one should ever be put in that situation. Nobody. Do you love me? If you love me, you'll give me your urine. What kind of choice is that? And it's a choice he had to make. And I won't spoil it. You read the book and find out what happened. But it's an easy read. It's a good read. It shows very much the strong familiar ties, family ties of that part of the country. I see that a lot also down here in the Southeast where I live in South Carolina. Family is everything. It's the most important thing is family. And they do anything you possibly can to help your family within reason. I'm not going to give somebody my urine. That's for sure. There's a lot to be said about somebody that would do something like that, because the whole point of the book is that he had to make a choice eventually, either to stay or go. In order for him to go, he had to turn his back on a lot of people, not intentionally holding him down, but were holding him back because of the situations that they put him in. He met a beautiful woman, they got married, and they have beautiful children, and just a all-around very decent human being. Okay, again, take the political glasses off. Too many people look at everything now through a political lens or a black and white lens or whatever, or Christian versus non-Christian viewpoint. It's so ridiculous. Judge the tree by its fruit. And J.D. Vance has done very well. He's done good for himself. When every deck was stacked against him, he really shouldn't have been as successful as he's been. Read this book from a perspective of somebody who's a codependent or enabler. See if you don't see yourself in the book. A lot of times I saw myself doing some of the same things he was doing. Some of the same sacrifices he was making, I've made myself. And it's all because you do these things because you feel like they're your family, and you got to do everything you possibly can for your family. I mean, there's been points in my life where I've had loved ones that asked me for help, but because of the situation they were in, I knew it would be fruitless, and I had to detach with love. Vice President Vance does in a lot of this. He had to detach with love. He had to detach himself from situations that would have pulled him down also. Later on, you'll find out, of course, they don't really talk about it much in the book, but now him and his mother have a great relationship, so that's spoiler alert there. So I think you all should check this book out, especially if you're a codependent or enabler. It's a very good read. It talks a lot about narcotic issue crisis in the Midwest with the meth and the heroin and the pills and the painkillers and doctor shopping and stuff like that. It's not that hard to become an addict in the Midwest because it's everywhere. It's everywhere because it helps you escape the fact that your life isn't going anywhere. So you go numb for a little while. And when you come out of your numbness, first thing you do is try and get numb again. So you can forget about the fact that your life is going nowhere. It's a sad circle. It's not just prevalent in the Midwest. It's all over the country. And unfortunately, not a whole lot's being done about it. This country spends hundreds of billions of dollars on war and BS other things that have nothing to do with the people of this country. And meanwhile, the people of this country are suffering. And this disease needs to be broken. We need to build more hospitals. We need to build more drug rehabilitation centers. We need to build more places where we can treat the mentally ill, not just medicate them, throw a pill down their throat and hope they don't just go away in the corner somewhere and just leave everybody else alone. It shouldn't work that way. And it shouldn't work that way. And we have the money, we're the richest country in the world, and we have the money to go ahead and put people first. But sadly, we don't. Maybe things will change. I don't know. We'll see. All I can do is give over to God, and hopefully things will work out the right way. But if you could, check out Hillbilly, Elegy. I rated a 7.5. Strong 7.5, possibly an 8. Again, I read this book from a perspective of somebody who's lived around addiction my whole entire life. Credit to you, Mr. Vance. Credit to you, the fact that you came out the way you did. Because again, all the odds were against you at every turn. I don't know how you did it. By your faith in God, by a few years in the military. He was a Marine, and that kicked his ass in shape too. I can guarantee you that. But these are the kind of things, the decisions he made, because he made the decisions to put himself in a better place, and he's in a better place. And I wish him well. I wish you well. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Let it begin with you. And by all means, say a prayer for the pros. Drop down the comments. Bloop down the comments. Have you read the book? Have you seen the movie? It's actually a movie also about it. And we got high acclaim. The movie did up to the point he became a popular figure in politics. So now, again, I think you can see through that. You can see through that. That's the biases that we all have, unfortunately. But drop down if you read the book before you've seen the movie, because I haven't seen the movie. I always read the book, but maybe I'll see the movie sometime also. Not I read the book. So a lot of times the books are better. God bless you all, and we'll talk to you soon.